If you've been following my streams over the last few weeks, or even caught the last episode of the FM Show podcast, you will have heard me talk about the idea of a Football Manager convention. And in this video, I'm going to explore it a little bit more, because the more I think about it, the more I think it needs to happen. So let's look into it, shall we? First things first, let's try and establish why the idea of a Football Manager convention is currently in my brain. Now, as part of the FM Show podcast, over the last few years, we've done some live shows at Nottingham Comedy Festival. We've also done a live show at Insomnia Gaming Festival. And as a comedian, for me, being on stage is the best thing, okay? I mean, I wrote an entire stand-up show about Football Manager. Football Manager ruined my life, toured the UK, and it was brilliant. And I loved the show, but it wasn't just the show I loved. What I loved most was meeting people and talking about their FM experiences. They wanted to tell me about their saves and their stories just as much as they wanted to hear me tell jokes about Football Manager. And we saw this when we did the FM Show podcast, even when we did Football Manager Therapy back in the day. These were essentially advertised as FM meetups. Now, for us, the idea of a meetup was very much a case of come and meet people from the community, the Football Manager community, not just the streaming community or the YouTube community or the podcasting community or the blogging community. We wanted people from the wider FM community, those who don't engage with content, those who just love playing this game. They play on mobile, possibly, they play on console. And I wanted people to meet people and share their experiences and share their stories and normalize the idea of turning up to a stand-up show on your own. Like, we wanted the idea to be that you could come, if you had no one to come with, you'd come on your own, you could sit next to someone, and you would instantly have this connection of talking Football Manager, and you'd make some sort of friendship that hopefully could then live on beyond that event, okay? So when we did the FM Show podcast and FMT, the idea was we do the show first, and then we go straight into the bar afterwards, and we just sit and we talk FM, and we'd swap stories, and we'd have a great time. And that was the bit that I loved the most. And that was kind of what's got my brain whirring with the idea of a convention. So just so we're clear, when we're thinking about an FM con, I'm not thinking Comic Con. I'm not even thinking Twitch Con, okay? What I'm thinking is a way to showcase our love of Football Manager. Now, what does that look like? For me, the current ideas I've got in my head, and this changes on an hourly basis, by the way, the more I think about it. For me right now, I'm envisaging a conference hall or an exhibition centre. Maybe over 2 days. 2 days, I reckon, could be really good if we can do it over 2 days. And I think it would have panels, first of all. It has to have panels. It has to have panels of people who make the game. So really, we need to get SI involved. We need someone, a couple of people from SI, to come and talk to us about the new match engine, about the move to Unity, where they see Football Manager going in the future. You know, what are the plans? What are they excited about? Really sell us the new roadmap of Football Manager, because they said that FM25 is the first of this new cycle. Okay, cool. We know you're not going to give us all the answers as to what happens over the next 20 years, but maybe just give us a little bit of a flavour as to what you think might be coming. Don't give us all the clues, but give us something. Whet our appetites. It could be a great way of buying back a little bit of favour with some of the community who are a little bit disillusioned given the delays of FM25. Right, panels with SI are an absolute given. That has to happen. And then maybe that means that we can potentially nudge Miles, give Miles a bit of a nudge. Do you reckon he could come and talk at the conference? I mean, that would be brilliant, wouldn't it? A great platform for the gaffer to come again and explain his vision to everyone, to us, to let us know what he thinks the future of Football Manager is. What's he excited for? Sell us the dream, sell us the vision. And, you know, if he's up for some questions, field some questions, because I guess there's a lot of people have got questions. And not just of Miles, but of the SI staff as well, of a panel of creators. Get the creators involved. Get your big creators, your top people, to draw a bit more interest, because they're the ones who are playing the game in a slightly different way to people who just play the game at home. You know, we appreciate that you watch us on Twitch and YouTube and listen to podcasts, and you've probably got questions for us as to how we play the game. So let's have a creators panel as well. Okay, so we've got SI, we've got creators, we might have Miles. I also think what we desperately need is a female football panel. Now that probably has to come again from SI. We want to get the people who are in charge of women's football at Football Manager, get them on a panel and really champion women's football. Talk to us about the challenges they've faced getting women's football into the game, the excitement of what they've managed to do, how they've taken this project and made it a reality, what they want to see from it in the future. Bring some female creators in as well who are making content about the women's game or are real experts in women's football. Get them in, educate us, tell us about the game, because I think that's a great opportunity with an active audience that are going to be engaged. Again, we'll ask questions, and I think it's just another really good opportunity to get that message out and have it super clear. I think that's another absolute must. So SI, Miles, content creators, women's football, that's all looking pretty good so far. There's some good panels, but conventions aren't just about panels. Conventions are about meeting your heroes, meet and greets, autographs. So, how's about we try and convince Cherno Samba to turn up? I reckon we could do that. We could get Cherno Samba to be there for the day, have a meet and greet with Cherno Samba. How cool would that be? Like, Mark Kerr is a possible. It's unlikely we'll get Freddie Adu. It's unlikely, but let's ask. Why not? What an opportunity that would be to have your photograph taken with an absolute certified Football Manager or Championship Manager legend. I think I'm having a little moment, actually. I'm just imagining what it would be like to meet Cherno Samba, actually. Pretty cool. So we've met Cherno Samba, got his autograph. He was amazing, by the way. Lovely, lovely guy. We really appreciate him being here. What next? What are we going to do after we've met a legend? Well, I'm in the mood for some FM at this moment in time, so I'm going to start looking for the LAN setup. Now, surely we would be missing an opportunity if we didn't put a LAN setup in. So a series of computers on a local network that have maybe got like a network save going on, or there might be some drafts or versus mode, maybe some older versions of Football Manager, you know, that could potentially be accessible via Steam, if licenses allow, of course, and have a little nosy around at that. Just, there's got to be some play areas. Surely we're here to not just talk Football Manager, we want to play Football Manager as well, because let's face it, we might not have played Football Manager since we were in the hotel that morning. And if you're going to be maybe 4 hours away from FM, then you want to know that there's some within touching distance. So let's get a little LAN set up there, have some games going on. You can maybe book one out if you wanted to play there for the whole weekend. You and a couple of pals sit down, book some LANs out. You might be able to book those out for the entire weekend if you fancy. You and your pals book a few machines out, get a game on the go, and then you're there having a wonderful time. That, for me, sounds like a brilliant idea. And I'm not going to ignore the mobile gamers or the console gamers, and we will have setups for mobile and console, because we know that the player base is vast on those platforms, so they need to be represented as well. And who knows, maybe it might just convince some of us to play mobile and to play console, and maybe I'll finally have a go and see what it's all about, because that's what conventions are for, isn't it? Learning about stuff that you maybe haven't seen before. So I think that's a great opportunity to showcase these platforms again to an active, engaged audience. This is where you showcase it. And speaking of showcasing, it would be a little bit foolish of me to not consider the fact that there is a live performance space. As a comedian and as a host of a podcast, we should probably have a live podcast, shouldn't we? So we'll have a live episode of the FM Show podcast on one of the stages. That'll be fantastic. We've got loads of potential guests to be part of that show, but not just the FM show podcast as well, by the way, because this is a convention that showcases all of the community and not just ourselves. We will obviously showcase the other podcasts as well. So FMT can have a slot, and 5 Star Potential can have a slot. And I think that'll be pretty cool, to be honest. And everyone gets a chance to broadcast from the convention. In addition to that, we've already said we've got some computers set up for LAN. We should probably have a couple of computers set up that could be used for streaming from the convention. So if you've got some creators there who maybe think, you know what, let's do some content while we're here, let's actually stream from the convention, why not? That's a quite cool idea, because let's face it, it's going to be in one location, right? We are not going to be able to have multiple venues, and there are going to be a lot of people who are going to want to come but can't travel in. And we're not just talking about traveling in from the UK, there'll be people who want to travel in from around the world. So in terms of planning where this has got to be, I've got to obviously consider the logistics of how close to an international airport is it? How expensive are hotels close by? How easy is it to get transport to the place that the convention's going to be held? Because as much fun as it is asking people, where would you like this convention to be? If someone replies to me and says, oh, I want it in this small village in the Peak District, I mean, as beautiful and as aesthetic as that would look, it ain't going to happen. Like, we're not going to get people into that little small part of the Peak District. We're not going to get a convention way down in the southeast. It's probably going to be quite tricky because we want to look at those transport networks. There will be people that are traveling from abroad. So unfortunately, at this moment in time, it has to be near international airports. It's probably going to be UK. Probably. I mean, when I spoke to Musterman on the FM Show podcast, he put the idea of Europe into my head, and quite frankly, that's a holiday to Europe would be quite nice, wouldn't it? We could maybe do that, but let's think for now, it's probably going to be the UK. So I'm going to get me thinking hat on as to where it's going to be. Yeah, I'm going to have to start thinking about that, aren't I? We know conventions are not just about the panels, the podcasts, the platforms where you can play the games. It's about all the extra stuff. It's about the vendors. You want to be able to turn up and buy some mementos from the weekend. So maybe we start putting on sale some FM Show podcast merch. I can tell you that's definitely going to be happening, by the way. That will happen. So FM Show podcast merch will be there. We can get football shirt sellers involved as well. We know the surprise shirts have an FM box where if you're struggling to think of a team to manage, you can buy a surprise shirt box and there's a team in there that's in the database. And you go, oh, maybe that's an idea for a save. Our friends at the non-league football shop as well, they also do an FM box. If you want to go into tier 10, then they're the people that we recommend for that. Full-time prints. Again, our friend Mike, who makes up wonderful prints that can be, customized, that can, bring back the life of your old FM saves. You can get a customized print. Mike could be there showcasing his work. Maybe we go a little bit further. Maybe there's a bookstall there. Maybe we get some sticker collectors involved, some whatnot sellers, people selling programs, Subutio. I mean, I don't know whether we're going too far away from Football Manager at this point and making it more into a football convention, but all these cool things, they're things that we all like. So I guess, in a sense, why not? Corinthian figures. We need Corinthian figures, right? I'm putting that in on the list. Corinthian figures, definitely. And not just vendors for, merchandise and memories, vendors for food and drinks. Because, of course, if we're going to be there for a while, you got to make sure there's plenty of interesting food to eat, plenty of interesting drinks to be had. Maybe we'll try and hook up with a local brewery, see if they can rebrand one of their beers or something, call it Wonder Kid or Sacked in the Morning, something like that. I think that's a great idea. Get some good coffee on the go as well, because it's going to be a long weekend, so got to make sure that everyone's fed, watered, and some sweet treats. Yeah, definitely some sweet treats as well. One thing I would absolutely insist on as well in this convention is a space, in fact a safe space, for people to talk about mental health, because I don't think it's any secret that people use Football Manager as an escapism for the real world or problems that they're having. They use it as a way to support their mental health. Society as a whole is now more open about people struggling with their mental health. We know from the pandemic, from lockdown, that people use this game as a way of almost having some sense of normality, some sense of escapism. Twitch and YouTube was a way of connecting with people when we weren't allowed to connect with people physically. So I do think that if you are traveling alone as well, I understand that that can be quite nerve-wracking and quite intimidating, and you can feel anxious. You turn up to this big convention center, you don't know anybody. So I think the least we can do is we can work with the mental health professionals that we have within the space who are more than happy to assist and offer guidance and support when people need it. So I think for me personally, like, we've got a big mental health channel in our Discord. So I think it would be remiss of me to miss that opportunity to have it live and in person. So there will absolutely be a space for people to talk about mental health. So just putting that out there as well. Actually, while we're thinking about mental health, maybe we get Johnny Sharples involved. He can do us a talk about Ivica Strock. And if you don't know the story of Ivica Strock, I suggest you go and Google it and find out what it represents and why Ivica Strock is so important. But that could be a nice section to have. Maybe an hour talking about Ivica Strock. And all the work that Johnny's done with Calm since then. That would be great. We could maybe get Adam Cleary involved from 442. He's making a lot of stuff now. He might be interested. Ian McIntosh would be great. Right, okay, I'm getting some more ideas now. Right, McIntosh, yeah, we could probably do McIntosh. Who else? I need to think some more names, don't I? We really do. I should have said as well, when we were doing the FM show podcast live, another idea I had, and this is one of those ones, I've spoken about it on stream a few times recently, and it's been a while since I did Football Manager Ruin My Life as a stand-up tour, and I always felt that maybe it was worth revisiting and updating. So trying to think of things to do in the evening, because during the day, of course, you've got your panels, you've got your podcasts. We could have discussions, masterclasses with database editors. For example, the mad scientist could come and talk to us about how he makes his retro databases. Musterman can talk to us about how we can manage attributeless and explain what Moneyball is. We can have tactical masterclasses from my boy RDF Tactics. He can talk to us and fix your tactic there live in front of us. He can even talk about his link up with Dinamo Zagreb at the minute. That'd be fantastic. If we can get some real football people involved, that would be so cool. Get a Big Sam involved, get Sean Dyche involved, get Connor Washington. We're Connor Washington on the FM show. Maybe get him involved in it. There's plenty of people that we can try and ring to get involved, but we need the big ticket items towards the end of the weekend. Like, how do you close the Saturday night? How do you close the Sunday night? And I was thinking about one of those options could be that I start rewriting the stand-up show, Football Manager Ruin My Life, and I give it a new twist, and I maybe perform that. But that's quite self-indulgent, so I don't really want to be the guy who closes his own convention. So I would be part of that. So I'd maybe sort of like do that, maybe not on the main stage, maybe I'll do it in like one of the smaller rooms or something. So again, I'm not sort of like there taking all the limelight, but maybe we have some comics who can do some Football Manager stuff. I know Jamie Hutchinson's done some Football Manager stuff, which is great. Probably can't get Manford, probably can't get Bridges. But there's me, there's Jamie Hutch, Bilal has done some Football Manager stuff as well, so maybe we can get something going on and have a little bit of a comedy show. Maybe we just do it nice and easy and do a big pub quiz. You know, maybe we just get the Football Game Company involved and get them to come in. We get some beers on the go, we get some DJs, we have some music, we play some Football Manager games, or you can invent the quiz for us. You can make the quiz, because I think what we need to do as well is make this interactive. So it is basically going to be not necessarily what we want, but it's what you want. Like, we need to play the whole situation. This whole convention has to be with the wider Football Manager audience in mind, and it can't just be what would creators want to create. It's got to be what would audiences want to come to. So a pub quiz could be fun. We could screen the Football Manager documentary and we could have a bit of a, not necessarily a watch along, but we could screen it because people might not have seen it before. So that could be quite cool. We could have a little cinema room set up, essentially. I suppose one of the obvious answers would be a live tournament, like a live Streamer Showdown or a live FM playoffs. I don't know whether that's what people would be wanting or not, but it certainly has to be part of the consideration. So I guess what I'm saying is, while you're watching this, if you've got any suggestions, leave them in the comments, because I won't have thought of everything. And there'll be some stuff that you'll be sitting there going, he needs to have this. The FM convention has to have this, this, and this. And if it's coming from you, then that has more credence and value than me saying, this is what I think you need. So have a think. If you've got any ideas, please, please, please put them in the comments below. Omega Luke has suggested a football tournament as well, like a football match, charity match, whether it be 5-a-side or 11-a-side. Get some creators, some local footballers or whatever. Again, I think that'd be pretty cool. Like, I don't know how we organise it, but I think it'd be pretty cool. And as with all of this, I don't know how we organise it, but I think it'll be pretty cool. So I'm not discouraged from attempting to make a Football Manager convention happen. So I guess let's try and make it happen. Okay? Let's try and make it happen. Because why not? Why not? You know, there's a new game coming out next year. There's going to be an international tournament the year after. Let's just do it. It'll be fun. And we can always grow it. Do you know what I mean? Like, whatever size it is next year or the year after, whenever we decide to do it, we can learn from that and we can make it bigger and better the following year. But I think we just commit to it and go for it. So what I need to say now is, if anyone's good at project management and logistics, then maybe get in touch. And if anyone's good at finance, get in touch. And if anyone knows how we can get sponsorships and funding, get in touch. Essentially what I'm saying is, get in touch if you've got any ideas and you want to help. And I am going to open it to wider than just creators, because as I say, this has to come from the wider Football Manager community. It's your convention, so I need your input. So if you've enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel, hit a like, make sure you drop a comment, join the Discord as well, and let's make a Football Manager convention happen. Let's make it happen. Because why not?